Let's compare a Saberforge Avenger lightsaber hilt on the left to an Ultrasabers The Guardian lightsaber hilt on the right. And these are both OWK or Obi-Wan Kenobi style lightsaber hilts, like prequel Obi-Wan Kenobi style lightsaber hilts. So anyway, let's dive right into it. Starting with the overall look of the hilt, on first glance they look very similar. Obviously the Ultrasabers hilt is quite a bit larger, as you can see, and Ultrasabers sort of has a reputation for some of their more premium hilts being a bit large in size, both in the length of the saber hilt and also in terms of the diameter. And when you put them side by side like this, it really kind of accentuates the difference. But at any rate, beyond that, let's look at the top of the hilt. So they both have that kind of red button at the top. They are slightly different styles. So this is a bit of a brighter red on the Saberforge one, also a bit of a thinner button. Now that does look pretty similar there. Also the finish of the saber, the Ultrasabers one is kind of a bit shinier, and the Saberforge hilt is a bit duller, although I know they have kind of the chrome style hilts now, so that might be different with some of the newer ones. Now if you look at the top, now these are both designed for 1-inch diameter blades. The Ultrasabers one here you see has kind of some black, and the Saberforge one does not. Okay, let's turn it over to the side. Alright, so you see that the Saberforge version of this hilt, it kind of has this brass or gold colored screw here, or button rather, kind of greebly, and the Ultrasabers one has the red jewel in it. The Saberforge one does not. And then if we keep flipping it, this is where the switch is for the Saberforge hilt, and the Ultrasabers switch is actually quite a bit lower on the hilt and kind of in a different position on the hilt. So that's actually a radically different thing, between these two hilts. So you can see the grip area. I mean, this overall design is very similar. You have kind of the black part and a shroud around it, but just the Ultrasabers version is larger, and then also it does have this spot that is designed to accommodate the AV switch, whereas the Saberforge hilt, it doesn't have that same space there because the switch is over here. Alright, moving down the hilt. So the cover tech wheel is positioned in a similar spot on both saber hilts. You can see the style of the cover tech wheel is a bit different between the two. There are these kind of small holes on the Saberforge one, and the Ultrasabers one is smooth. Finally getting to the pommel. So pommels are pretty different on the bottom. Both have sound holes, but the Saberforge one, it kind of has this metal grating on the bottom, and the Ultrasabers one, it's also metal, it's just black instead. And then another thing you notice is there are the holes with the pommel here. The Ultrasabers one and the Saberforge one does not have those same holes. So a lot of similarities here between these sabers, you can definitely see that, but at the same time, even just noticing that the positioning of the different items on the hilt is, pretty different with these hilts. So I think that's most of what you need to know, you guys, but I know the size difference is a pretty big deal to a lot of people. So I would say that this Saberforge version is definitely a little more comfortable in the hand, but that's, my take on it. So that's just kind of a quick comparison between these two Obi-Wan Kenobi style hilts. Feel free to let me know what you guys think in the comment section.